Indeed. So we're about ready to start Swiss round 5. There's one round after this. Players are starting to stratify. They know where they're falling. They're starting to understand, oh, I am 0-0-5. I might not make the top cut. Or, oh, I have not lost a game. I better eat some food so that I can be ready for top 8.
I did mention earlier that last round, round 4, the two top tables both tied.
What?
Both of the number 1-2 and the number 3-4 game in round 4 both tied.
Wow. Who were in those games?
That was Arj and that was Arj and his opponent.
Someone.
I know, I'm the worst. And the other game was Ben Dyer and Todd Whitman.
Wow.
I'm sorry to the fourth person. I feel so garbage that I can't remember the fourth. But both of those games ended in a tie, which, again, leaves round 5 as sort of a double jeopardy kind of round.
Oh, my gosh. This is going to be crazy.
Like, for example, I don't think anyone that's sitting in the top 4 seats right now were those people. We'll see.
That is crazy.
The game is starting, folks.
And it's only cutting to top 8. It's not cutting to top 16.
That is correct.
Which is going to make some crazy stuff with regards to the brackets. But again, if you want to play in the final, win your games.
There you go. You don't have anything to worry about if you just win all your games, folks. So we see Dan there reaching. Oh, sorry, that was Joe. He was reaching for his action first. Uses that.
What a mat.
Malekith Global to KO. I did mention the mat already. If you guys don't know, this is the exclusive DM Armada Tournament Series mat that Dan is using.
If you want one, I don't know, maybe we can run a tournament in your area.
Yeah.
He picks up a turn 1 streak and then reses.
Awesome.
He rezzed on turn 1. A turn 1 streak and a turn 1 res. How crazy.
Scary. Joe going to keep a shield and then re-roll the rest. I think he's going to want that shield for resurrection so that he can ensure that things are happening. Thought about spending a mask there. I'm not exactly... It got back to the reserve pool, so I think it was unspent. He buys his Green Devil mask first.
He loves that Green Devil mask. Is it going to work against Iceman? That's the real question.
That is a little bit of a question. Iceman teams generally run off of one character, which is Iceman.
Characters. Like a sidekick in Iceman or just Iceman himself with a Blink Global. This does not have a Blink Global, so he wants to get a sidekick and Iceman.
Dan rolls his 5 sidekicks thanks to the Resurrection Global. He could go Iceman right here. We've seen these Iceman teams literally just sort of forego all things that have happened before them and just go straight for the throat. We'll see if that's Dan's approach or if he's going to kind of slow roll it and ensure that the pieces are in place. He is going to go Iceman here. Leaves a mask for potentially Professor X Global on Professor X Global or a Kate Bishop Global if something scary comes through here.
Now the question was posed, what are the records of these two? The records of both players in this match are 2-1-1, meaning that whoever wins has a shot still at making it into the top 8 because of the fact that there have been ties.
There have been a more than usual, I feel like. Maybe you've seen ties like this. I feel like I've seen a lot of ties, especially in rounds 3 and 4.
What does that say about the team builds? What do you think it says?
I think it comes down to the teams are fairly balanced against each other, and the matchups are being negated, but you can't overcome that deficit, if that makes sense. Like, you're accounting for your matchup and your opponent's stuff, but you're not necessarily winning the game yourself.
Well, I think it also says that we have really good players, and we don't have a toxic win condition that kills you in 4 turns.
That could also be it.
And if we do, it hasn't shown up.
No.
If it exists, it hasn't either been found, or it has not been piloted very well, or it has been actively pushed against by the community.
Right.
So one of those 3 things has happened. And this is Worlds. Whoever wins this is the world champion. So if you don't bring the best of the best, then...
you're doing it wrong.
Maybe you don't want to be that world champion. Definitely interesting. By the way, he played a instant war to put 3 sidekicks from his own field, or from his own bag into the field, and also get some sidekicks into the field for Dan.
And
Dan,
that was the plan for Green Devil Mask all along.
Exactly.
So Iceman plus Instant War pops a Green Devil Mask because it is the 4th character in the field. Also, Dan has purchased a Shriek here, which, along with 3 sidekicks, is going to activate the Green Devil Mask.
That's right. Now, I'm not sure. He does have a spin down, so he can spin down with Mjolnir to keep that from happening. So that would probably be the best bet. Spin down from Mjolnir to keep it from happening. The other option would be just trigger it. Oh, I guess it's coming up soon, isn't it? It's not out yet.
Which?
The Green Devil Mask.
Green Devil Mask is in the field,
okay.
yeah.
It was down there in the corner. So look, yeah, he is going to spin down with Mjolnir.
But I agree.
Oh, and he also brought a spin down as well.
Triggering that mask wouldn't have been terrible there, since Iceman will definitely come out next turn. It's in the bag right now.
So he's going to field.
Going to go for a Shriek, though.
I imagine he's shrieking the Iceman. No, sorry, shrieking the, what's the word I'm looking for? The Tabaxi Rogue, which is the damage dealer. But we'll see. When we pass back over, we'll see what he shrieks. As far as how many versions of Resurrection there are in the game, there are 2. The one that you see on stream, and the old Battle for Faerun one. Yes, you can sleeve them both back to back and just flip between them. If you show up to the event and you take a top 2 in a side event, you get a signed one.
Signed foil Resurrection.
The foil Resurrection was a WKO prize. Resurrection was in the, what set was that? The Superman Wonder Woman starter set.
All right, over to Joe's side here.
He shrieked the Tabaxi Rogue like I called. And
there you go.
Now he's got his own shriek. What is he going to shriek? Maybe he shrieks the shriek and just leaves it at that?
I don't know. I mean, Iceman is for sure coming out next turn. Whether it gets rolled, that's a different story. But I think in terms... So he just goes ahead and quick spins that sidekick down to a bolt.
Pays to field, and we can guess it's either going to hit that shriek or... And he didn't move the thing back, so we can heartily assume... Oh.
So he is shrieking Shriek.
No, he's not. He's giving his token back
sorry.
so that they know that Tabaxi Rogue is shrieked, and they know that probably Iceman is shrieked.
Yeah, that would be the guess here. Kind of preserve yourself. I think that Joe is right in thinking that the longer this game goes, the better chance he has.
Yeah, it's going to take a long setup.
Yeah, the setup's going to be long. I mean, he hasn't even reached for that Tabaxi Rogue yet, which is the main damage output for his team. With Tabaxi Rogue being blanked, he's going to have to sort of work around, but I think his removal options, his removal idea is going to be the Green Devil Mask. I've also seen him reach for that Tomb Guardian, which really heavily taxes global abilities, which definitely slows down these Iceman teams, but does not fully negate their effect. However, Iceman being shrieked, that is a non-topic right now. Gonna pay a field Iceman, regardless of being blanked or not. He's on his 3/6 side. Can take a lot of beating in the attack step. 3 bolts left here for Dan to spend. Just gonna pass.
Right,
Magic Missile an option to spend those.
Quick announcement before we begin. After
Joe
the
re-rolling for that instant war,
win,
didn't quite get it.
There will be a break. And then we'll take the break, and then we'll come back for the top 32.
Sorry, that's
Okay, down to
so
top 8.
loud.
So there will be a break after the 5th round of Swiss. Then we come back for top 32 to top 8. All right, guys?
So without Instant War popping this turn, Joe has to sort of scramble.
Of 5 Swiss rounds, you may begin playing.
Looks like he used some sort of create food and water here maybe, and he knew no, because he didn't even draw. He's gesturing, but at things that I cannot see. He does have 4 energy. He could go Tomb Guardian. He could start the Sage Corruptness. But again, without that Tabaxi Rogue, with Tabaxi Rogue being shrieked by Dan, Joe is sort of just in a spot here. He's got to have an answer. We've seen Kate Bishop be used to great effect in removing shrieks. So we'll see if he leans that direction. And one thing we haven't seen a lot of today is the Malekith Global over there on Super Rare Malekith. It says pay Bolt, KO a character that you control, and the next action you buy is -2 cost. He can use that to switch his Shriek target. He can use that to keep his field looking the way he'd like. Unfortunately, Dan can use that to keep his field slimmer than anticipated. So in theory, you can spin a sidekick down, that's removing a character from your field, and then use that bolt to KO another one of your characters. So it's really going to come down to that Instant War burst of fielded characters to pop the Green Devil Mask, especially if Dan is well aware of the consequences that are out there. Second Iceman here for Dan. Not sure what direction he's going to go either. He needs to think about a removal option for Joe's Shriek. I lost my feed. I don't know if it's... Thank you. Don't know what the plan is here. We're going to find out. Same sort of thing applies, though, on this side. You could use that Bolt Global to change your Shriek target, refield that. You could, he's going to spin this sidekick down, get 1 extra energy as a Bolt. Pays a Mask to field. Iceman, he's just going to pass priority. Joe passes back. He's going to attack with the other Iceman. Ping it twice. And the damage is dealt. However, oh right, no Shriek over here on Joe's side. I am dreaming. Trying to calculate how much damage was actually done last turn. It looks like Joe has lost 6 health here. Iceman got hit twice, and then Iceman came through for damage as well. Here comes Joe's Shrieks. They are back, as well as a second copy of Green Devil Mask. So the way this works, if you have 2 traps in the field, is that they will both be triggered at the same time. You will resolve their effects one after another. It would be bonkers if you could say, I'm just going to trigger the 1 trap and leave the other one there. Then people would just stack those things up. Shriek is here. So 2 Shrieks and 2 Green Devil Masks. Sort of an odd-looking field. But if we think about it, Joe's team is a bit odd, just in the way that it works. I really hope we can get this this corrupt Tabaxi craziness going off. There's the Instant War, really the piece that we've been waiting on. Because even if Dan has 1 character in the field, when Instant War goes off, if you happen to draw 3 sidekicks, then we will re-roll things, and Joe will be off to the races. We are over to Dan's turn. He's taking a turn right now. There we go. He's going to try to work around this Green Devil Mask again, because he knows Instant War's in prepped. It's going to be coming around for Joe next turn. He also needs to be thinking about how many sidekicks are in my bag. What's the probability I draw 3? What's the probability I draw 2? Sort of weighing those options. Does not get Instant War. Joe is needs to recycle this action die. Let's see if he gets it on the reroll. He does. There's the action face for Joe he's been looking for. Now, let's see how many sidekicks Dan will draw. Joe's going to draw just those 3 die. So in strictly by the books, those 3 dice, so he had nothing in the bag, so he put those 3 in, and then those are the ones he drew. Both of the Green Devil Mask triggers, so Dan will have to re-roll his field 2 times. Anything that rolls energy will be put to the used pile. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Not sure what happened, but there's no sort of window between Green Devil Mask and otherwise. So there's the first roll for the first Green Devil Mask. Here's the second one. Holy moly, Iceman even upgrading himself to his 1/4/6 side. Dan wiping his brow after a near miss there. But Tabaxi Rogue is unshrieked at this point. We haven't seen Joe remove that token, but that was really what we were waiting on. Tabaxi Rogue, again, being there's the removal of the token. Tabaxi Rogue being the damage output of this team. Otherwise, you just go for like a big board with stats if Tabaxi Rogue gets shut down somehow. But Joe's team is so disruptive with the Corrupt keyword and the Green Devil Mask that it's hard for an opponent to get their feet under them for very long. Thinking about attacking here, I think he paid a bolt to knock out Shriek, potentially. Dan gets another Iceman. He did pay last turn with that mask to field a sidekick out of his used pile, it would seem, after that Green Devil Mask triggered. He doesn't have to be scared about fielding characters this turn. However, you don't want to be sitting on 4 when the mask is played. It will instantly trigger. See what Dan does here. Last turn he fielded the Iceman, so he had 2 in the field and he attacked with 1. Which, regardless of whether it's blanked or not, it is still an attacking character. You must deal with this, Joe. What you gonna do? So we'll see if he goes the same line here or if he wants to use this Iceman as more energy. He could start going for parasites and go sort of the attack when you can route. Because when you can attack, Parasite can latch on. Oh, sorry, this is the not that Parasite. This is a different one. Also, if it was the latch on Parasite, that would count as characters in the field for Green Devil Mask, which is pretty much bad news for Dan. Over to Joe's turn. Let's see what he got. He got his Tabaxi Rogue over to Prep, which is when the fun really begins on this team. I feel like his next purchase, now that he is getting a little bit stabilized, is going to be a couple Sages to get that Corrupt keyword going. Didn't get Tabaxi Rogue this roll, which is problematic. Does get a reroll. And it lands. Tabaxi going to be fielded this turn. He could change his Shriek target as well when he fields this second copy. Two Icemen in the field that are blanked currently. Yes. One of these. Right here. Tabaxi is fielded. Shriek is being knocked out. One of the Shrieks. Sort of an insurance policy to have a second copy of Shriek, especially when there's a magic missile on the field and a Mjolnir. Things could be removed in a quick fashion. Over to Dan's side, he's got 4 sidekicks this turn. Gonna be interesting to see how he's working around this, his Iceman being Shrieked still. Until his own Shriek comes back through the bag, sort of just stuck. Does have things in the use pile. He could do things like the Professor X Global. He's just in an odd pickle where it's like he almost needs to branch out to another character other than Iceman, but Joe's entire game plan hinges on Dan having more than just Iceman as a character. So, just an odd game state here for a minute. He uses the Techno Global to spin all of his energies to bolts And I imagine those bolts are destined for Shriek, especially if Joe doesn't roll his second copy of Shriek next turn. I imagine that those bolts are going to be for removing Shriek. That way Iceman can be available. So Joe gets 2 Green Devil Mask and 2 Sidekicks. He also has his Shriek and his Instant War in. Oh my, what a roll. So this is pretty much the nuts, because he gets a second copy of Shriek, so it won't be removed fully by those 3 bolts on Dan's side. He also gets Instant War and a double Green Devil Mask. So we are almost certainly going to see Dan have to re-roll his field twice. I don't know how many Sidekicks he has in the bag, but I imagine it's more than... I mean, if he gets 2, I think the trap will trigger. Instant War says draw 3 dice. Any sidekicks you draw, you must field right now. It doesn't say that word for word, but that is how the effect works. So there's no way to mitigate. It's like a force fielding. Force fielding, which then will trigger this the Green Devil Mask. Because Dan already has 2 Icemen in his field. Also, since Tabaxi Rogue is out there, the Instant War was 3 draws outside of the roll and reroll step, outside of the clear and draw step. So that's 3 damage to Dan. We don't. It looks like it has happened. At least 2 sidekicks were pulled, which means Dan had to field them. He then has 4 characters
separately too. Check that out. So even if they come up like this, Iceman came up, it has to be rerolled a second time, which is kind of bonkers.
Really strong. We did see Iceman survive through double trap earlier, by the way.
Oh man, I missed it.
Yep.
That sounds pretty crazy.
It was actually pretty crazy. It was still shrieked though. So Joe had his bases covered. He's like, oh, if you re-roll this twice and still get it, it is still shrieked. What do you think? Would Joe prefer to have both traps trigger at once, or do you think he would rather stagger them?
No, you want to stagger them probably.
Okay.
It is a nice little insurance policy, but if you stagger them, one goes into the bag, then you pull the other one out of the bag, and you just set it up again.
Yep. I imagine that's pretty good. Re-rolling characters every turn seems pretty good.
Right, exactly. Making them play around some sort of a stipulation like you can only have 3 characters is pretty solid. Especially when you have a wide board and you can just get them a little lower, and then you just push that physical damage to kill them.
So Dan's
always clear fields.
Always clear fields. Dan's Shriek here is being fielded. I imagine he's going to Shriek. That's why he is moving that token off of Iceman. So Iceman is open for business. Sadly, he's not in the field anymore, thanks to Green Devil Mask, but in due time, my friends. Dan has 2 of them in the bag. He also, did I see he purchased a Mjolnir? Is that what he purchased there at the end?
I didn't see, I missed it.
It would be a good look, considering Joe will continue to have a field and Dan will not, so he could bounce that Mjolnir around before removing something larger. Double trap again. Double trap again. Now, it will be interesting to see whether he fields or uses the Instant War here, because there are no Iceman in the field currently. However, if he removes the Shriek, then his existing Shriek will rename Iceman. So I imagine it's good either way. However, Dan, I can't imagine Dan pulls 3 sidekicks here out of his bag, which I think with only 1 character in the field, he would need all 3 of them. Tabaxi Rogue dealing her damage again.
Big L for me.
Can't win them all.
Fielding 1 sidekick. Oh, he's going to trigger both of those again. 2 sidekicks. 3 sidekicks, I assume. Now he's counting up damage. He's so close. Looks like he's close to being able to push that damage. 17 is what he's looking for, and it looks like he only has, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he's 2 off.
And the Tabaxi Rogue damage just got added, so it's actually 14 is what he was looking for here.
He could have Tabaxi Rogue globaled to deal 1 extra damage, but that still puts him 1 off lethal. And I think he's seeing that and just used that right there. putting it at 13.
Yeah, Joe fairly in control at this point, especially since that Shriek has been returned to Iceman. He is no longer threatening the board.
It's a dangerous moment. Let's see. He's one off, it
Yep.
looks like.
He says, pass to you, my dude.
Yep. Oh, is he going to full push his sidekicks? Is he going to full push everything? Did I miscount? 4 plus 2 is 6, 8, 10, 12.
I can't imagine he pushes here if he doesn't have it, right? There we
Fix to
go.
a sidekick, fix both those sidekicks to bolts. I guess they both brought the bolt global.
Well, there's a Techno Global and a Fixer, so I think he spun one down.
You'd have
and
to pay something to technically.
Right, so if you spend one to a... Oh, I see what you mean. One should have gone to use, even if he used it to get another bolt.
I would imagine that he's running the Mjolnir Global as well. I think that's the case.
That is very possible as well.
So pay, field. You have 2 attackers or 2 blockers, really, at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're both blanked, unfortunately. But you do have a bolt. Oh, he's going to re-roll 1. And it came right back as a fist, or with a fist. Wow, that's the exact same. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that weird bonkers roll. What a strange thing.
Yeah, he's
So
got to
he
feel
fields
him
both
here
of
so he doesn't
those.
lose the game. They are, however, just plain stats at this point.
He's got a bolt here. The bolt can hit a magic missile and ping out one of those sidekicks just in case he needs to save himself with an extra damage. But if any big triggers of Corrupt go off, then we just got serious issues.
Yeah, we haven't even seen Corrupt used yet. We've just seen Tabaxi Rogue dealing damage from Instant War.
Ah, okay, and he's got an instant war prep.
Yep.
So we could see that.
We could see the closing damage here, potentially. Depends how many sidekicks are fielded and such.
I think he rezzed, and so he took a point of damage. I think that's what we just saw. Oh, another instant war and GDM combo.
Oh, he does have one mask.
Didn't get the second instant war, so
That
he
would've been
can't deal
daggers
a bunch of
for
damage.
sure.
But he is going to be able to pull some sidekicks out and maybe, just maybe, re-roll the field.
As well as field 3 sidekick, 3 attackers. So he only has 2 things to field, which is
See what he ended
hilarious.
up rolling.
The way this team works, so slim. Joe deals 3
He ends
damage
up
thanks to
pulling-
Tabaxi Rogue. We'll see. I think Dan's field is 2 Icemen right now. So this is over to Dan's
Oh.
side. He did re-roll his field. He got 1
Rolls.
Iceman back,
Moves on over.
which
Rough.
really might save him the game here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus 4 is 11, 13
He's
attack
down to
stats.
9, so I think that's just a good game. He kept a bolt so he can ping out a sidekick.
And he has 1 blocker.
So he can block it 2 and then take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I think that's just going to do it. He's going to fix one of those. Oh, he's going to KO, ping, and then full push.
There it
Yeah,
is.
and that's just going to do it.
Block the
one,
biggest.
And that's a GG.
Game, set, match. Wow.
GG.
Another great game. Hats off.
Indeed.
Hats
Indeed.
off,
that
lads.
was a crazy one. That was a
That was-
crazy one.
I
Back
mean,
and forth.
it was. What was it?
That was the first Iceman match we've had on stream
True.
since yesterday. The first one in this entire Worlds tournament.
Yeah.
And it dropped the game.
Drop the game. I mean, I think Joe's team. How did that game go? It was interesting. He locked down Iceman, and then the Green Devil masks. It wasn't necessarily re-rolling a large number of field. It was
just
re-rolling
re-rolls-
the Shrieks.
Yeah,
So
it
when,
just re-rolls the control, right?
yeah. So when Iceman is unavailable the whole game, hard to deal damage.
Exactly. Exactly.